Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know I did, and I would like to thank my family, my wife, and two children. Thank you for allowing me to be your husband, then to my kids, your father. Love my family. They support me in going to school. They support me in my endeavors. Thank them for that. Thank them for allowing me to be their leader. I may not do things the right way. I try to do the things the best I can. Sometimes I fall short, but I promise you I get back up and keep trying to make things better. Keep making the adjustments. And that's what I want to talk about today to the kids that grew up in the inner city like I did. Don't be afraid to make the adjustments. Don't be afraid to self correct yourself. Don't be afraid to admit that you made a mistake because sometimes we make mistakes. And the best key, like an old person told me, is try not to make the same mistake twice. Sounds easy listening to it, but life sometimes comes at you in different ways. And you really have to slow down and think. Kind of like when you're playing sports, when you first start playing, it come at you fast. But the more you practice, the more you play, it starts to slow down, and you start to say, "Okay, I see where I fit in at. Let me play in this lane and let me do my thing." So, with that being said, I want to talk to my inner city kids. I know for me, it's like growing up in Southwest, going to McClellan. We all have these common struggles or things that we go through, growing pains, trying to overcome the circumstance that you're in. Because sometimes, like in the inner city, it's like you get punished for being smart sometimes, or it's not looked upon, it's not highly favored within your peers. And if you don't have the father figure or a mentor or somebody older that tell you that don't fall for that, be yourself, be smart, use that as a tool in your toolbox. Sometimes you will put it on hold or you just won't know how to apply it because you're not in a situation to where it's conducive to you applying intelligence or being smart or, like science, technology, education, and math, something like that. And I want to tell the youth that I'm not the most articulate person. I'm not even the smartest person in the room. The thing that helped me was I had to really sit back and assess myself and tell myself what can I do better? What can I make the adjustments at? And how can I improve? I do it all the time. Sometimes I talk to myself so much. My wife and kids be like, "Who you talking to?" I'm talking to myself. I think the reason that I talk to myself a lot is, I know for me, losing my dad at a young age and not having that male figure to really lean on, I had to learn how to think for myself earlier, probably than most kids. And with that being said, you really have to be strategic in your thinking because the margin for error, especially for inner city kids, the margin for error, it don't seem like it's that big. Mistakes, like some mistakes, you really just can't make because they end up coming back biting you in the butt later. And that's why I want to tell the kids: don't get so mixed up in the streets that you get caught in that web of being in juvenile system or the law system because it's really hard to shake. Once you get in that web, it's kind of like walking and you walk into a spider web and they get on you trying to get it off. Sometimes it's kind of how the justice system is. So you have to be careful. You really have to think about what you're doing. And if I do this, what is it going to cost me? Sometimes you can get in the justice system. It may take you 10 years to really get free from it. Some people, it lasts them half of their life, just one act, and get caught doing it, and it may last you half of your life. Just trying to get off papers, trying to get off parole or trying to get off probation. Or you go to jail and it changes your whole perspective on life because of how rough it is. And that's what I want to just let the kids know, that you can do some other things. Like I say, it's all about perspective. Sometimes it seems like there's a herd perspective, like the 80%, the majority perspective, then there's like the small percentage perspective. You have to figure out where you are on that prism. It's like, where everybody does, then it's like the little narrow road where like not that many people do. And I found that usually the herd perspective usually follow trends and kind of just go with the flow, whatever's going on at the time, whatever the thing that's popping at the time. That's what they tend to do. The small percentage of people who don't go with the flow, like say the 20% or maybe even lower, they usually just do their own thing. They're not really affected by trends. They kind of just like eccentric almost. This is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to stick to, and this is what I'm rolling with. And if you're not taught that sometimes going against the grain, especially against something that's like, the herd perspective, going against the grain in that aspect. If you're not taught that, sometimes you want to be respected by your peers, you want to be accepted, you want to be, adored by your peers, you'll end up going with the herd perspective, the herd mentality. So work on your perspective. So much information out there now that wasn't present probably 10 years ago. Now you can go on Google and just about find any field, anything that you want to do. Or if you don't know about it, you can find out about it. I mean, YouTube, there's so much stuff on YouTube now as far as digital stuff you can do. People building houses, minimal tools and, figuring stuff out. Learning about trades, painting cars, putting LSs in old schools. There's so many videos out there that show you so much stuff. And just take the time out to learn. Just get a notepad, write down the notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how you do it. And one thing I know for sure about growing up in the inner city is the access to information about different fields, as far as career, whether it's trades, education, whether it's like going into like an apprenticeship, because believe it or not, in Southwest there are quite a few apprenticeships in Southwest. I didn't even know that living in Southwest when I graduated high school. 'Cause I think if I could do it over again, I probably would have became an electrician first, learned the trade of an electrician. But I really didn't know about it. Kind of just started working, and I just kind of stuck with that. But what I would tell the young guys is, if you get in an apprenticeship, you get paid to work and learn towards a journeyman at the same time, instead of just working somewhere and you're just working but it's not going towards anything. It's just a job, just like I talked about on my resume last time. The thing that makes an apprenticeship awesome is that after you get done with that apprenticeship, after you get your hours in, that's what they say, you got to get your hours in, you get to go up for what they call a journeyman, like journeyman plumber, journeyman electrician. But once you get to that journeyman level, you get to the master level, you can work for somebody and you can branch off and do your own thing at the same time. Like, you can work for a company and do your own stuff on the side. With trades, it's so many little side hustle things you could do with the trade. Like with the electrician, you can just specialize and go around and hooking up generators, a transfer switch. And you can make tons of money just doing that on the side. and you can still work for an electric company at the same time. Or you can just branch out and do it on your own. Carpenters, you can work for people that build subdivisions. Or you can learn how to build your own shops and houses and framing and stuff like that. You can have your own business doing that. Just look it up. There's so much stuff out there to do. And with carpenters, a little bit of math knowledge, and you can build plans and stuff like that. Most of the houses kind of cookie cutter now, and you just need a nail gun, air compressor, chalk lines and stuff like that, and hammer nails. And dude, you can get it done. And some stuff come already pre-assembled, and you just doing minimal nailing and screws. So much stuff out there that we didn't have access to in the inner city, as far as training in it while you're young and you have the time to do it. That's one thing that I know for a fact that just wasn't available. Learning how to do concrete when you're 16, 15, 16 years old. Learning how to do framing. Learning how to do roofing. Learning how to generate income with the minimal things necessary. Cutting grass, like learning how to maintain a lawnmower, learning how to, maintain a weed eater. A lot of times you don't really get that, especially if you grew up in apartments, because the apartment does the maintenance. The apartment cuts the grass, unless you live in a house. I know when we moved into a house, I struggled with that because we lived in apartments, just learning how to cut grass. I had to learn how to do that, and it took a while for me to do it, to learn how to get in the habit of cutting grass. Just didn't want to do it, like being lazy. So I had to break the habit of being lazy and learning how to do that kind of stuff. So, and once again, like I say, when you get this done when you're younger, you have a lot of time to really dedicate to it and get it done. It's really hard when you get older and you start having a family. You get married, have a family, because you gotta really split your time up. You can't take free time for granted. You really have to make it count towards something, because when you have kids, they want to spend time with you, and you have to have your stuff done and spend time with them. You gotta divide your time up. That's part of the sacrifice you make for the commitment to having a family. And that's one thing I want to tell my young guys: understand, learning about commitment. What commitment means. What does it mean to be committed? You hear people talking about love, but you never hear the commitment. Commitment will take you further than love will. Because love fluctuates, but commitment will stand if you agree to it and you live by it. And that's the mindset that you have. I'm going to meet my commitment no matter what. That'll take you further. Commitment and being consistent is one of the things that I had to learn growing into being an adult, is to be consistent and committed. Because a lot of times, you struggle with that, being committed, because you quick to bail out. I've been through that. I've done that when I was younger, just bail out like, I'm not tied to this person, or I'm not gonna know this person the next 10 years, so I'm gonna bail out. We do it all the time. But understanding commitment, understanding that when you make a commitment, like when I have to commit to getting education, right? I think I got like another year left, year and a half, something like that now. I have to commit to finish that year and a half in my education. And I have to, like I said, I got to thank my family for allowing me to do that, because it takes time. Every time you do something, it takes time from something else. And that's the part that about life. It's about your time and your commitments, and to think about, am I able to make this commitment, or do I have to make a sacrifice to make this commitment? And when I make this commitment, is it going to benefit me and my family? Are we going to be able to benefit from this? It's gonna give us access to more flexibility to do things. That's one reason I bought the land. That's one reason I say I'm going for an education. I'm trying to get access in order for us to have more flexibility. That's what you want, more flexibility. I'm not trying to be, overly rich and I'm just trying to have it to where me and my family can do things we want to do and we have the flexibility to do it and we're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. My main objective in a nutshell. That's what I want to do. Find your skill sets as early as you possibly can. Really sit down and think about what are you good at. Try different things. What are you good at? Are you good with hands? With your hands? Are you good with your mind? Are you good with technical things? Are you good with communication? Are you good with kind of like two or three multitasking? So many skill sets out there. For me, I stumbled on computers and stuff like that. I think it was not more so the computer. I think it's more so of the consistency of the challenge of troubleshooting and figuring things out. I think that was more of a skill set that I have. How do you figure something out that pops up? And how do you troubleshoot it? Because in IT, there's no one way to fix something. There are many ways to fix something. And that fits my mind very well because I don't do everything the same way every time. I don't take the same path every time. And I'm not really rigid. I'm a flexible thinker. I'm not rigid on one thing. And IT kind of gives my mind that freedom to go different paths. I may try a path just to see if it works. And if it don't work, well, I got two more paths to fall back on. But that's my skill. I didn't realize I had that skill set until I worked in IT. I didn't have somebody to sit back and watch me and say, dude, you're good at troubleshooting. That's what you need to do. So that's what I did. And even with web development, I used to run from programming. I really did. I was like, I could do routers and switches because it was easy. I picked up on it. But I never challenged myself to do programming, to understand programming. And that's what I want to tell the youth. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Don't pick something just because it's easy. Challenge yourself to go to that next level. And when I did web development, when I took the class at where I'm at now, school at now, it really wasn't that bad. It's really kind of the same stuff over and over based on what you're doing. Some people have a set way of how they build websites. Some people may have two or three ways they build websites. And it's all up to what you can create. Probably that's one thing my skill set is being creative with web development, graphic design, and mass communication. It's like 3 sections they have us taking for this degree plan. Really, if you're a creative person, you will like this degree path because it gives you that experience in different fields and you can take it and run with it if you want, or you can take those skills they're showing you and you can just add it to your creative toolbox. So that's what I would say. Challenge yourself to learn a new skill set, to add to your skill sets. I'm doing it right now, and I'm telling you, it's awesome to use Adobe Illustrator to make a logo. That's what I've been working on for class, a logo for the CTM channel, Corp Tech Media channel. And being able to just understand what it takes to make a logo. I mean, just learning Adobe Illustrator is a task within itself. You really have to really take the time out to learn how to move around and operate, and I'm still learning. I'm not a wizard at it yet, but I'm getting there. But this is Mike. I talked too long. Getting ready to sign out. Ask you to like, share, and subscribe. Help me reach my goal of 1K subscribers. Thanks for watching. And listen to my inner city brothers and sisters out there. You can make it. You may have to work a little bit harder. But if you do, and you outthink the situation that you're in, I promise you, you will increase your chances of success. This is Mike, and I'm signing out. Thank you.